Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to DJ TLM TV. My name is DJ TLM and this is part 1 of my mix tutorial series. This could be perfect for you if you're just starting out and you just bought your first DJ set or your first controller and you've been playing with music for a while, but now you feel that it's time to take it to that next level and really learn how to mix and how to become a good DJ. In this tutorial series, I'm going to teach you the basics and I'm going to show you all the ingredients you need to make a good mix. Now let's take a look at some of these key ingredients. What do you need to know to mix? First of all, know your music. Learn how to count music, learn how to beat match, and know your equipment. Learn how to use the EQ section and maybe the effects section. Now there's a lot more, and I mean there's a lot more. I'm not even talking about timing and key and all of that stuff, but I'm starting with the basics, and after that we're going to get into all that other stuff as well. So the first one is pretty easy. Know your music, because all you have to do is listen to your music. Make sure that you know the songs that you're going to use for a mix. If you're practicing at home, then you can use new music because you can find out how the song goes during the practice session. But in the past, I've taken songs to the club that I haven't fully heard. I only heard like 30 seconds or a minute, and I just thought like, oh wow, this is a banger, I'm gonna play it tonight. You could be in for a nasty surprise if you don't know how the total song goes, because there could be a tempo switch in the middle of the song or a break at an unexpected point. That could lead to nasty surprises during a mix, so you don't want that to happen. So just know your music, know the songs that you use. Pretty easy, anyone can do it. Then we have the very important, maybe most essential part, and that is knowing how to count music. I want to recommend this video right here, Beats, Bars, and Phrases, How to Count Music. That's a tutorial that I made especially for you to watch before you start with this mix tutorial series. Because if you know how to count music, you're going to understand that the songs have a certain structure. And once you understand and start to recognize that structure in songs, it's going to make it a lot easier to know how to do a certain mix when you're supposed to mix. I also talk a lot about the terminology that I'll be using in my mix tutorials. Beats, bars, phrases, those are things that you're going to hear a lot. And I tell you what they mean. Of course, I will be explaining that in the mix tutorials as well, but just watch that video before you start with this series. Alright, then we have beat matching, learning how to beat match. When you started as a DJ, the first thing you learned was how to beat match. And if you don't know what beat matching means, what it comes down to is that you have two songs, this one is playing, and you want to make a smooth transition to the next song. You can only make that transition if both songs are playing at the same tempo, at the same speed. Just imagine if you're in a car and you're doing a crazy highway stunt, there's a ravine right there and you have to jump from this car to this car to escape. Crazy analogy, but just stick with me for a minute. In order to do that stunt, both cars are going to have to be going at exactly the same speed. If that one is going too fast, it's going to pass before you can jump. And if it's going too slow, then it doesn't reach you in time to make that jump. You want those cars to be going at exactly the same speed for you to do that jump. That's the same with the music. You want them to be playing at the same tempo to make the transition from one to the next. If they're not playing at the same speed, it's going to sound horrible, and I'm going to give you a couple of examples in the next videos. Of course, a lot of you now might be using a controller or some DJ software, digital vinyl system, and you probably have a function called sync. Now what the sync function does is it automatically beat matches for you if you have your songs analyzed so that the software knows the BPM, the tempo of the songs. So yes, you could press sync and then this one would have exactly the same tempo as that one. Very cool feature, but I would always recommend that you also learn how to beat match by ear. You never know. There's more than one scenario where you might need that skill. Imagine, I'm just going to give you two examples. Imagine if you're playing and you're using your controller, you have that button, and that sync button isn't working. Technical difficulty. It could happen. If you're relying on that sync to work because you don't know how to beat match by ear and sync isn't working, what are you going to do? It would help a lot if you also know how to beat match by ear. Then there's an even more important scenario, and that is the sync function is cool, but it's not always that accurate. And it only works with certain types of music. A lot of the new dance music, it will probably be quite accurate. It's going to be less accurate with certain types of hip-hop music because the drum patterns are so different that sometimes the BPM analyzer doesn't really catch the BPM correct. And if you're playing old school music, say you're playing James Brown. James Brown uses live musicians, a live drummer. So there's no drum machine, so the tempo of the song isn't one steady tempo, because even if the drummer is very good, there's still going to be some fluctuations in that tempo, and the sync is not going to work. So it's always good to have that skill. I always recommend that you also know how to beat match by ear, and you might find it to be fun, and a lot more fun than just pressing that sync button. Then last but not least, the equipment. Know your equipment. All mixers are going to look different. All players are going to look different. And you could be using a turntable or a CD player or a controller. But the key features are always going to be the same. You're going to have your EQ section, the equalizer, and you're going to either have effects on your mixer or effects in your software. And these are essential. The EQ is essential, and effects can be a very nice feature. EQ is going to help you to adjust the sound of the songs, because if you play both songs as they are, with, for instance, the bass at full bass, normal bass level, and you have two songs with a lot of bass, if you play them together, that's going to be way too much bass, and it's probably not going to sound good. The EQ is going to help you to adjust, because you can adjust the high tones, the mid tones, and the low tones, and you can figure out how to make the songs sound beautiful together. So that's a very important part as well. Now, as you can tell, this video is strictly theory, so I'm sorry, I'm not showing you how to mix just yet, but these are very important things you need to know, and I wanted to stress that fact too, because a lot of people don't really realize what mixing means. And to be honest, when I just started out, when I learned how to beat match, I thought that was it, and I thought I knew how to mix. Now, technically, I could make the transition from one song to the next, but only later you find out, like, hey, there's a lot of different ways to make a transition. There's different parts in the song where you should or could make a transition. And you learn by experimenting, and you learn by playing in front of people, and most important, you learn just by practicing a whole lot, and you learn to recognize what sounds best. Like I said, there's a lot more that I need to get into, but I'm not going to do everything in one video because that's just going to be too much. So I'm going to be dividing that over separate videos. The second video is coming very soon. Make sure you start with that how to count music tutorial. And if you have any questions, just check me, DJTLMTV at djtlm.com. If you enjoyed this info, please click like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already so you don't miss out on any of the future videos, and check the new website, djtlmtv.com. All right, guys, see you soon.